My name is Peter Mieras, and together with my wife, Kathy Johnson, we are running Rendezvous Dive Adventures. It is the oldest dive charter company in BC, and overall it has been running close to 40 years. Located in Barkley Sound, Cayenne Reef is a very popular dive site with divers from BC and all over the world. It features a combination of reef structures, kelp, and an abundance of fish and invertebrate life. Early October 2011, divers from Anacortes Diving and Supply reported the snagged gillnet on the main pinnacle. We called the Department of Fisheries and Oceans the same day, and they planned to pull the net off the next Monday. However, the weather changed and the operation had to be postponed. When Kathy and I descended on the reef to figure out exactly where the net was, and to see the extent of the damage, we really didn't know what to expect. The net had been down now for about 2 weeks, and it was a really grim sight. As it was caught on top of the reef in about, let's say, 30 feet of water, it was close to the surface, and it had not only caught fish and crab, but also seabirds like cormorants. As we followed the net along the reef, it was gut-wrenching to discover the amount of marine life trapped and killed in the abandoned net. Personally, this is one of my favorite dive sites, and to see the carnage made me both sad and angry. Sad, of course, to see the damage and the animals killed, and angry because of the fact that one of the commercial gill netters, with whom we generally have a good relationship and good experiences, did not even bother to pick up the phone and report it. The total disregard of someone who makes a living of the ocean's riches for the damage it causes is unbelievable in this day and age. As you swim along the net, you look around and it just seems to go on and on and on. And it was full of remnants of lingcod, rockfish, kelp greenlings, cabezon, a red-eyes lord, and it was just depressing. It was particularly hard to see the cormorants in the nets and imagine how they dive down, fly through the water, and die in the struggle to get free. We found a number of sea stars and lingcod feeding on the dead animals, and some of them had become victims themselves. Cayenne Reef being such a popular dive site, I guess the unreported net could have posed a real threat to unexpected divers too. To us it was clear that something had to be done, and soon too, just to avoid more onslaught. So on the first calm day, we gathered our dive gear and prepared to help take the net off. In close coordination with the Port Alberni office of the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, a plan was made. 4 officers with the motor vessel Discovery Point came to us, and the gear was loaded onto the boat. After a short ride of about 15 minutes in the fast boat, we arrived at the dive site, and the conditions were absolutely great. The visibility was excellent, so it was all ready to go. Diving around nets is extremely dangerous, and you can get entangled very quickly if you don't know what you're doing. The main gear consideration that we had was to keep the amount of equipment to the minimum and to have it very, very close to your body. The first thing that we needed to do was to tie a line that would be taken to the surface to the end of the lead line that was still attached to the net. Whilst you know that you're doing something good and take some action to actually remove the net, every time you hear the cracking on the water of the net coming off the reef, you know that you're actually breaking up some form of life. And you really have to keep the positive in mind, that you're cleaning the reef rather than the negative of, what damage has been done. We used a very simple system. Kathy was my safety diver and documented the procedure. We opted not to bring our usual larger video system, but chose a small GoPro HD camera. I would pull parts of the net off and see how much life could be saved. My main concern was to make sure that I did not get entangled. Once a part of the net was ready to go up, I would pull twice on the line, and the surface crew would gently pull up until they met resistance, and then we would repeat this until it was too deep for me to follow the net down. As the net came off bit by bit, we discovered some hard crabs, some fur crabs, and other fish that weren't dead yet, not too damaged. So we took quite a bit of time cutting those out and freeing them of all the remnants of the nets and putting them back onto the reef. That was really a good feeling when that worked. I guess the bad images won't go away very fast, but all in all, it was surprising how well the system worked, and the net came off very, very cleanly off the reef and didn't leave any kind of residual net. The officers at the surface were also very careful hauling in the net. There were some fish that were rescued from it, some sea urchins, and they really did a very good job in making sure that the maximum amount of marine life that could be saved was gently put back into the ocean. Unfortunately, we ended up with approximately over 100 fish at the end of the day that were unnecessarily caught and killed in the net. At some point we followed the reef down to more than 80 feet, and I discovered a large Puget Sound king crab that was trapped in it, but still very much alive. So I really had to act quick and cut as fast as possible away the net around it from the main net because it was being pulled up. And I pulled it into shallower water where I could have the time to really clean it up, and we successfully set it free without any net left on it. What we didn't know that out of the deeper part, just beside the other Puget Sound king crab, a smaller one was pulled up in the net, and Glenn spent quite a bit of time cleaning that one, but in the end he managed to save it and put it back, so we were really happy about that, and they were too. We managed to pull off all of the net and ended up with a clean reef and more than 200 pounds of net. We are very grateful to the local people of the Department of Fisheries and Oceans for helping us cleaning up this popular dive site.